At 6 a.m., my unemployed sister showed up at the apartment I rent from my parents. "I'll live here." Mom said, "We're doubling your rent to cover our expenses." When I said I'd move out, they laughed. So I took all the furniture. I'm 27 years old. I work as a teacher at Riverside Private School, which is honestly the best job I've ever had. The kids can be a handful, but I love what I do. 5 years ago, right after I graduated from college, my mom made me an offer I couldn't refuse. "Ashley, honey, you remember Aunt Margaret's old apartment," Mom had said, sitting across from me at the kitchen table. "The one she left me in her will?" Of course I remember it. I'd spent countless afternoons there as a kid, listening to Aunt Margaret's stories and eating her homemade cookies. The apartment was in a great neighborhood, just 2 blocks from the school where I'd just gotten hired. "What about it?" I asked. "Well, instead of renting it to strangers, why don't you live there? I'll charge you 20% below market rate. It's better to keep it in the family." I didn't need to think twice. The apartment was perfect, 2 bedrooms, a decent kitchen, and close to work. I could walk to school every morning. So I moved in and started paying Mom $800 a month, which was a steal compared to the $1,000 other places were asking for. Over the years, I put everything I had into that place. I saved up and did a complete renovation, new hardwood floors, fresh paint, updated bathroom fixtures. I bought quality furniture piece by piece. A beautiful sectional sofa, a dining set, a king-size bed with a memory foam mattress, even a 65-inch smart TV. Mom would come by every few months to check on the place. "You've done such a wonderful job with this apartment," she'd always say, running her hand along the granite countertops I'd had installed. Aunt Margaret would be so proud. The only thing that sometimes bugged me was my younger sister, Emma. She's 23 and still lives at home with Mom and Dad. According to Mom, Emma is finding herself, which basically means she sleeps until noon, hangs out with friends, and doesn't work. Don't get me wrong, I love Emma. She's my sister, and I've always helped her out when she needed it. When she maxed out her credit cards buying clothes, I paid them off. When she wanted money for a girls' trip to Miami, I gave it to her. Last year, she begged me for the latest iPhone. "Ashley, please, all my friends have the iPhone 14 Pro, and I'm still stuck with this ancient iPhone 11. "I look like such a loser," she whined. I bought her the phone. It cost me $1,200, but seeing her happy face was worth it. But lately, our monthly family dinners have gotten weird. Emma keeps complaining about living at home. "I'm so tired of Mom and Dad treating me like a child," she said last month, stabbing her mashed potatoes with her fork. "I'm 23 years old, I need my independence." "Well, then get a job and move out," I said, not trying to be mean, just practical. "It's not that simple, Ashley, you don't understand." Dad looked uncomfortable, and Mom just changed the subject to my job at school. The conversation that really stuck with me happened about 2 months ago. Emma was going on and on about needing her own space. "I can't live with Mom and Dad forever," she said. "I'm an adult now." "Okay, so what's your plan?" I asked. "How are you going to pay rent without a job?" Emma shrugged. "I'm considering my options." "What options?" "I don't know yet, but I'll figure something out." I didn't push it. Emma's always been the type to figure things out at the last minute, and honestly, it wasn't my problem to solve. I had my own life to worry about, lesson plans to prepare, papers to grade, my own bills to pay. After that dinner, I kind of forgot about the whole conversation. Emma's complaints about living at home weren't exactly new. She'd been saying the same things on and off for the past year. I figured she'd either get motivated to find work or she'd keep living the comfortable life Mom and Dad provided for her. I was happy with my routine. Wake up at 6:30, coffee and toast, walk to school by 7:45. Teach my classes, grade papers, come home to my beautiful apartment. On weekends, I'd meal prep, binge watch Netflix on my big screen, or hang out with friends. It was a good life. The apartment really felt like home now. Every piece of furniture had a story: the coffee table I'd found at a estate sale and restored myself, the bookshelf where I displayed my college textbooks and novels, the dining table where I'd hosted countless dinner parties for my teacher friends. Mom seemed proud of what I'd accomplished. Whenever she visited, she'd take photos of the rooms and show them to her friends. "Look what Ashley did with Aunt Margaret's place," she'd say. "Isn't it gorgeous?" It made me feel good that she appreciated all the work I'd put in. The money I'd spend on improvements easily totaled $15,000 over the years, but it was worth it. This was my home, my sanctuary after long days dealing with 7th graders and their drama. It was a Saturday morning, and I was having the most peaceful sleep I'd had all week. I always sleep in until at least 9 a.m. on Saturdays, then make myself a big breakfast and plan out my lazy day. But at exactly 6 a.m., I heard the sound that would change everything. The front door was opening. My eyes snapped open immediately. My heart started pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. Someone was in my apartment. I grabbed my phone from the nightstand, my hands shaking as I tried to think of what to do. Should I call 911? Was someone breaking in? I forced myself to be quiet and crept toward my bedroom door. I could hear footsteps in the hallway, and the sound of something heavy being dragged across the floor. Oh God, what if it was a burglar? What if they had weapons? I slowly opened my door just a crack and peeked out into the hallway. There, standing in my entryway with 2 large suitcases, was Emma. What the hell? I shouted, my fear instantly turning into anger. I marched out of my bedroom in my pajamas. Emma, what are you doing? You scared the crap out of me. She looked at me with this casual smile, like showing up at 6 a.m. with luggage was the most normal thing in the world. Oh, hey Ashley, sorry, did I wake you up? Did you wake me up? It's 6 in the morning on a Saturday. Why didn't you knock? Why didn't you call first? And why do you have suitcases? Emma shrugged and started pulling her suitcases further into the apartment. I figured I'd just come in, no big deal. No big deal, how did you even get in here? Mom gave me a key. I stared at her. Mom gave you a key to my apartment? Well, it's not really your apartment, is it? Emma said, that same casual tone in her voice. It's Mom's apartment, she owns it. A cold feeling started spreading through my chest. What are you talking about, Emma? She left her suitcases in the living room and started walking toward my bedroom. My beautiful bedroom with a king-size bed and the custom curtains I picked out. This is the master bedroom, right? It's got the bigger closet and the better view. I'm taking this room. You're what? Emma opened my closet door and started looking through my clothes like she owned the place. You can move into the guest room. It's smaller, but it'll be fine for you. I felt like I was in some kind of nightmare. This couldn't be happening. Emma, stop touching my things and explain to me what's going on right now. She turned around and smiled at me. Mom said I could move in here with you. She thinks it's time I had some independence from her and Dad, and this way we can be roommates. Won't that be fun? My head was spinning. This had to be some kind of joke or misunderstanding. There was no way Mom would just decide Emma could move into my apartment without even asking me first. I dialed Mom's number with shaking fingers. It rang 4 times before she picked up. Ashley, why are you calling so early? It's 6 in the morning. Mom, Emma is here with suitcases saying you told her she could move in with me. What's going on? There was a pause. Oh, that. Emma needs to get out on her own, but she can't afford her own place yet. This is the perfect solution. Perfect solution for who? Mom, this is my home. You can't just decide someone else is going to live here without talking to me first. It's not your home, Ashley, it's my apartment, I own it. The words hit me like a slap. I've been living here for 5 years. I've put thousands of dollars into renovating this place. And I appreciate that, but it's still my property. I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. Okay, fine. So how much is Emma going to pay for rent? And how are we splitting the utilities? Mom laughed, actually laughed. Emma's not going to pay rent, Ashley, you are. That's insane, Mom, why would I pay for her to live here when I didn't even agree to this? Because you have a job and a steady income. Emma's still figuring things out. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This is completely unfair. Life isn't fair, Ashley. Besides, I've been thinking about raising the rent anyway. Starting next month, it's going to be $1,600. $1,600? Mom, that's double what I've been paying. The market rate has gone up, I need to adjust accordingly. $1,600 is actually more than market rate for this area. I could find a better apartment for less money. Is that a threat? Are you saying you want to move out? I'm saying this isn't fair and you know it. Well, Ashley, if you want to move out, that's your choice. Emma has 2 friends who are looking for a place, and they'll pay the full $1,600 without complaining. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. You're serious? Dead serious? So what's it going to be? I hung up the phone. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. 5 years of my life, 5 years of making this place my home, and Mom was ready to just kick me out for Emma and her friends. Emma poked her head out of my bedroom. So when are you moving your stuff to the guest room? I want to get settled in today. Soon, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I spent the rest of that Saturday on my laptop, searching rental websites. My heart was pounding with anger and hurt, but I knew I had to focus on finding a new place. There was no way I was staying here under these conditions. Emma spent the day playing music loudly in what used to be my bedroom and talking on the phone with her friends. I could hear her laughing and making plans for parties she wanted to throw in the apartment. My apartment. By the end of the day, I'd found 3 apartments that looked promising. They were all smaller than this place, and they cost more than I'd been paying before the rent doubled, but they came with something this apartment no longer had, my dignity and peace of mind. I scheduled viewings for the next day. I was getting out of here as soon as possible. Sunday morning came, and I was up early despite barely sleeping. Emma was still snoring away in my former bedroom while I got ready to go apartment hunting. I made coffee as quietly as possible and checked my phone for the addresses of the 3 places I was supposed to see. The first apartment was a disaster. The photos online had been misleading. The place smelled like cigarettes and had water stains on the ceiling. The second one was better but way overpriced for what it offered. But the third apartment, that was different. It was in a quiet neighborhood about 15 minutes from school. The building was older but well-maintained, with a friendly landlord named Mrs. Chen who showed me around personally. The apartment was smaller than what I was used to, just 1 bedroom instead of 2, but it had character. Hardwood floors, big windows, and a cozy kitchen that got great morning light. The rent is $950 a month, Mrs. Chen said. First month, last month, and security deposit up front. It was more than I'd been paying Mom originally, but less than the crazy amount she was trying to charge me now. And most importantly, it would be mine. No surprise roommates, no family drama. I'll take it, I said without hesitation. When can I move in? Next week if you can get me the deposit by Wednesday. We shook hands right there. I wrote her a check for the deposit and felt a huge weight lift off my shoulders. Finally, I was going to have my own space again. But as I drove home, reality started setting in. I'd put so much money into Mom's apartment over the years. The renovations, the furniture, everything. Was I really going to just walk away and leave it all for Emma and her friends? Hell no. I bought that furniture with my own money. I saved for months to afford the sectional sofa. I worked extra tutoring sessions to pay for the dining room set. Emma didn't deserve to inherit all of that just because Mom decided to play favorites. That night, I started making a plan. I called my friend Jake, who works for a moving company. Hey, are you guys working this Wednesday? I asked. I need to move my stuff out of my apartment, but it has to be done while my roommate is out. Sounds like drama. You have no idea. I also called my friends Lisa and Mark, who agreed to help me pack on Wednesday morning. The plan was simple. Emma usually went out around 10 a.m. to meet her friends at the mall or wherever, and she always stayed out until late when she was with them. That would give us plenty of time to get everything out. Wednesday came, and I called in sick to work. I felt a little guilty lying to my principal, but this was an emergency. I watched from my window until I saw Emma leave with her oversized purse and designer sunglasses, the ones I'd bought her for her birthday last year. As soon as she was out of sight, I called Jake. She's gone, come on over. Lisa and Mark showed up first with boxes and packing tape. We worked like machines, wrapping everything carefully and labeling boxes. The sectional sofa, the dining table and chairs, my bedroom set, the coffee table, my TV, even the kitchen appliances I'd bought to replace the old ones that came with the apartment. Are you sure you want to take the microwave? Lisa asked. It seems kind of petty. I bought it, I said firmly. Emma can figure out her own kitchen situation. The only things I left behind were the old furniture that had actually belonged to Aunt Margaret, the kitchen table and chairs, and an old dresser in the guest room. Everything else was coming with me. Jake and his crew were amazing. They had everything loaded onto the truck in less than 3 hours. I did one final walkthrough of the apartment, making sure we hadn't forgotten anything important. It looked so empty without all my stuff. Kind of sad, actually. But I didn't feel sad, I felt liberated. I followed the moving truck to my new apartment, where Mrs. Chen was waiting with the keys. Welcome to your new home, she said with a warm smile. The rest of the day was spent unpacking and arranging furniture. Lisa and Mark stayed to help, and we ordered pizza for dinner. By evening, my new place was starting to look like home. The sectional fit perfectly in the living room, and my bedroom set looked even better in the smaller space. This place has good energy, Mark said, sprawled out on my couch with a beer. Much better than that family drama situation. I was exhausted but happy. I'd done it. I'd escaped the mess that Mom had created and found my own place. I felt proud of myself for taking control of the situation instead of just accepting it. Around 9 p.m., my phone started ringing. Emma's name flashed on the screen. I couldn't help but smile as I imagined her walking into that empty apartment. I let it go to voicemail. She called again 5 minutes later, then again. I was actually enjoying this, picturing her confused face as she realized all the furniture was gone. The expensive furniture that she'd probably been planning to use for her Instagram photos. Finally, at 9:30, Mom's name appeared on my screen. I decided to answer this one. Ashley, what the hell did you do? Mom's voice was sharp and angry. I moved my furniture to my new apartment. You can't just take everything. Why not? I bought it all with my own money. But Emma has nothing to sleep on, there's not even a couch. That sounds like Emma's problem. Or your problem, since you're the one who decided she should live there. You're being vindictive and selfish. I'm being practical, I found an apartment. I'm moving out, just like you suggested. There was silence for a moment. Then Mom's voice came back, colder than before. Fine, you know what, Ashley? I'm glad you're gone. Emma's friends are moving in next week, and they'll pay the full rent without all this drama. You've shown your true colors. My true colors? Mom, you chose Emma over me. You threw away 5 years of me being a good tenant and a good daughter because you wanted to enable Emma's lazy lifestyle. Emma is trying to find herself. Emma is 23 years old. When I was 23, I had a job and was paying my own bills. You're not helping her by letting her live rent-free. Don't lecture me on parenting. I'm not lecturing you, I'm done with all of this. Enjoy dealing with Emma and her friends. I hung up and immediately blocked her number. Then I blocked Emma's number, and Dad's too, just to be safe. I didn't want to hear from any of them. That night, I slept better than I had in weeks. In my own bed, in my own apartment, with no drama and no unwanted roommates. It felt amazing. 8 months passed, and I honestly forgot how peaceful life could be without constant family drama. My new apartment became my sanctuary. I loved my morning routine, coffee in the sunny kitchen, getting ready for work without anyone blasting music or hogging the bathroom. My commute was a bit longer, but it was worth it for the peace of mind. I didn't miss the family dinners. I didn't miss Emma's constant requests for money. I definitely didn't miss Mom's passive-aggressive comments about my life choices. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. Then one day, I ran into Dad's sister, Aunt Carol, at the grocery store. We'd always gotten along well, and she'd stayed out of the whole apartment mess. Ashley, how are you, honey? She said, giving me a big hug. I'm doing great, Aunt Carol, how about you? She looked around nervously, then leaned in closer. Can we talk privately for a minute? We walked over to the coffee shop section of the store and sat down. Aunt Carol looked uncomfortable, like she was debating whether to tell me something. What's going on? I asked. Well, I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but I thought you should know. Your mom's been having some problems with that apartment situation. I tried to keep my expression neutral. What kind of problems? Those friends of Emma's that moved in? They've been causing all sorts of trouble. Loud parties every weekend, music until 3 a.m. People coming and going at all hours. But that's not even the worst part. She paused, looking around again to make sure no one was listening. 2 weeks ago, they flooded Mrs. Patterson's apartment downstairs. My stomach dropped. I knew Mrs. Patterson. She was the sweet elderly lady who'd lived in that building for 30 years. She had beautiful antique furniture and a collection of rare books. How bad was it? Bad, really bad. Water came through her ceiling and ruined thousands of dollars worth of furniture and books. Some of those books were first editions that her late husband collected. I felt sick thinking about it. Mrs. Patterson had always been so kind to me when I lived there. She'd bring me homemade cookies during finals week when I was in college. What happened exactly? From what I heard, Emma's friends were having a party and someone left the bathtub running. They were too drunk to notice until water was pouring through the floor. Oh my God. Mrs. Patterson is demanding $20,000 in damages, and she's threatening to sue if your mom doesn't pay up. She has documentation of everything that was destroyed. $20,000, I almost laughed at the irony. Mom had been so concerned about getting more rent money that she'd ended up with a bill 25 times bigger than what I used to pay her monthly. How do you know all this? I asked. Mrs. Patterson called me because she knows we're related. She wanted to know if there was any way to reason with your mom without going to court, and? Your mom's been telling people it's not her responsibility because she wasn't the one who caused the damage. But Mrs. Patterson's lawyer says since your mom is the landlord, she's liable for what her tenants do. We talked for a few more minutes, and then Aunt Carol had to leave. But the conversation stuck with me for days. I felt bad for Mrs. Patterson, but I wasn't surprised that Emma's friends had turned out to be irresponsible. Emma had never been held accountable for anything in her life, so why would her friends be any different? A couple of days later, my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Ashley, it was Mom's voice. Listen, I need to talk to you. We don't have anything to talk about. Ashley, please, I need your help. We're having some financial difficulties, and I was hoping you could lend us some money. She wasn't going to tell me about Mrs. Patterson, she was hoping I didn't know. Let me guess, this wouldn't have anything to do with Emma's friends flooding the downstairs neighbor's apartment, would it? There was silence on the other end. How did you find out about that? Does it matter? The point is, you created this mess by choosing Emma and her irresponsible friends over me. Now you want me to bail you out? Ashley, we don't have $20,000. That's not my problem. Please, honey, I know we made some mistakes, but we're family. Family, Mom, you kicked me out of my home for Emma. You doubled my rent and told me I could leave if I didn't like it. You chose her over me, and now you're dealing with the consequences. We didn't kick you out, you chose to leave. I chose to leave because you made my life miserable. And now Emma's friends have made your life miserable. Funny how that works. You're being cruel. I'm being honest. You enabled Emma her entire life, and now you're surprised that she and her friends are irresponsible? You made your bed, Mom. Sleep in it. So you won't help us? Not a chance, figure it out yourself, just like I had to. I hung up and immediately blocked that number too. Months passed, and I never found out how they resolved the situation with Mrs. Patterson. I assumed they either paid up or got sued. Either way, it wasn't my concern. Then one day, I was at the mall buying a new dress for a teacher conference when I saw her. Emma was behind the counter at one of those trendy clothing stores, wearing a name tag and folding sweaters. She looked up and saw me, and for a second our eyes met. I could see the recognition in her face, but she quickly looked away and pretended she didn't know me. She started bustling around, organizing clothes and avoiding eye contact. I walked past without saying anything. What was there to say? She finally had a job, which was more than she'd had when she moved into my apartment. Maybe getting kicked out of Mom's place when her friends couldn't pay the rent had been a wake-up call. Or maybe Mom had finally cut her off financially after the whole flooding disaster. Either way, seeing Emma actually working for a living felt like poetic justice. I left the mall feeling good about my choices. I'd built a new life for myself, one where I wasn't constantly being taken advantage of by my own family. I had my dignity, my independence, and my peace of mind. Could our family relationships be repaired someday, maybe? But only if they admitted they were wrong and genuinely apologized for how they treated me. I wasn't going to pretend everything was fine just to keep the peace.